In this video, we're going to see if we can recover from this slight mishap in qualifying in the third round of the VRS Sprint Series. Hey guys, and welcome along to another video. If this is your first time here and you are watching all sorts of sim racing related stuff, subscribe now and click the bell icon so you get notified of every video I upload and you don't miss a thing. So we find ourselves here after that slight mishap in qualifying, down in 22nd place. Now I'm the 14 car, meaning I'm the 14th best driver, so really need to get up at least above that to try and improve my iRacing. Now this is the bottom split, so looking to make a move up the field and aim for at least another top 10 finish, following our 7th at Bathurst last time out. Now I've actually done some pre-race prep for this one. I've had a look at the previous races that have been run to see how many laps the leaders did and essentially how long the race was. Now this is going to help me with fuel calculations, allowing me, I hope, to keep focused on the road and concentrating on getting a good result. Now the tyres have already been unticked, I'm getting used to that now, so we should be good to go. So we're going to waste no time here by making a move on the 7 car up into turn number 1. So we're up to 21st place immediately. Now obviously I've got to avoid crashing myself, but more importantly I've got to avoid getting collected by anybody else crashing here. It's extremely difficult around this track, which I'll come on to later, but as you can see there are a lot of undulations and brine crests here, which require extra caution if we're going to stay out of trouble. Now as you probably saw earlier, the green Ferrari up ahead got it a bit wrong coming down the hill through the S's. I wasn't going to go for it there, especially on lap number 1, and risk taking us both out in such a dangerous part of the track. Now it's famous for being the most difficult part of the track, and over the crest at turn number 5 claimed many victims in practice. Now I'm determined to ensure that isn't me today. The best opportunities for me to pass are going to be into turn number 10, which is going to be at the end of this long straight here. But before I tell you where the other one is, keep your eye on the yellow and blue Ferrari up ahead. There's going to be contact, he's going to end up in the barrier and it is going to be game over for him. I'm trying to stay out everyone's way here in the aftermath of that crash, and I'm going to run a bit wide after this crest here coming out of turn number 11. But that's fine, I'm going to get straight back on the throttle here as we come through turn number 12, and I'm going to make an identical move here on this yellow Mercedes as I did on the car at turn number 1. So whilst I've made up more places, I've made 2 good passes in 2 laps, which I am really happy with. Now apparently the spotter says I'm up to P15, I'm not entirely sure that one's correct. The relative says I'm in 18th, making me 17th after that one, but that's fine. Either way, we're making good progress up the field. As you saw there, the yellow flags were coming out as we came down the hill. If you kept your eyes on the left, you would have seen that somebody else has come a cropper there, so yet another place game for us, and we are up to, by my calculations, 16th place now. Going back to where I think the second best place to pass people is for me, you probably already know where this is, but coming through into turn number 1. Now having made 2 passes on 2 cars in the opening 2 laps, I think it's fairly self-explanatory, and that's where I'm hoping that we're going to be able to make a move on this green Ferrari up in front. Now I'm going to try and get some pressure on him over the next few laps and see if we can push him into a mistake.
Lap time was 1:21.19, sector 2 is 1.2 off the pace.
So whilst we've been caught up behind the Ferrari up in front, the 7th car has actually caught me up. He's going to go for a move into turn number 6. That's fine, I'm not going to risk a crash here, and if he pulls away into the distance it's not too much of an issue. But he's going to get onto the rumble strip there, get on the power a bit too early coming out of turn number 6, and I am going to retake the position. But unfortunately, as you can see up ahead, I've lost a boatload of time to the Ferrari up ahead. Now I don't know about anybody else, but I am personally really struggling with the brakes in iRacing, as you're going to see here when I come into turn number 10. Now everybody knows I use a Logitech G29, and everybody knows that this set does not come with load cell pedals. Now I was perfectly happy with this until I started playing iRacing. I find I lose a lot of time and control in the big braking areas. I'd be keen to know if anybody else has struggled with this setup, and whether it was just some settings that they haven't got right, or is it time for me to upgrade. Please let me know guys in the comments section down below. As you would have seen there, we have crossed the line in 16th place and things are looking really good at the moment. Now the Ferrari has gotten away slightly, but I'm going to make up another place here as the Merc you would have seen got crossed up and left the track. So now up to 15th place. So considering I started in 22nd and that was only 7 laps ago, I'm really happy with the progress so far. But for now I'm going to try and get my head down here and get back onto the rear bumper of that Ferrari and see if we can get this move done and up to 14th. And to be honest, with the way that he's kind of been driving, I'm not sure if we're going to need to actually make a move. If I can put enough pressure on him, hopefully he'll make a mistake. And as we start lap number 9 here, that mistake comes. The pressure we've put on him has worked, and he's going to go wide here, as you can see, into turn number 1. So finally up to 14th. Happy days. Now you won't see it because I'm in a different menu at the moment on the right hand side, but when I flick to that, we're just under 4 seconds behind that car up in front. And now that we've got some clear air, I'm going to try and put in some decent laps here and see if we can make another move up the field. Coming through to start lap number 11, we're putting in some consistent lap times, driving well, and I'm feeling good. Now as you can see, I pulled a decent cushion to the guy in 15th behind, but the gap is stable up ahead until he makes an identical error to the Ferrari, as you would have seen, and goes wide coming out of turn number 1. Now this is a very important part of the race here, so we're going to stay on board and take this time to introduce the track and the race itself. So the track is Road Atlanta, or Michelin Road Atlanta, as of last year when they agreed a sponsorship deal. Believe it or not, this track is in Georgia in the USA, the clue's in the name, and the biggest race here annually is the IMSA, or IMSA as I call it, WeatherTech, which is the sponsor, Sports Car Championship. Now if anyone doesn't know what IMSA is, any non-American people may not know what it is, and I didn't before I started playing iRacing, to be honest, hence why I called it and still call it the wrong thing. It's just the American Le Mans Series and Rolex Sports Car Series joined together, which they did in 2014, and this is the series it's called, the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. Now this is another track following Watkins Glen in round 1 that I have never raced on before. I'm liking the fact that through iRacing though I can experience and then therefore bring you guys new tracks and content that I just can't do on other sims that may have more limited content bases, not mentioning any names. Now next week is Sebring, another iconic track, another iconic worldwide track as well, not just an American iconic track, a worldwide iconic track, and another track that I personally haven't raced on and therefore haven't brought to the channel, which means that will be 3 out of the first 4 rounds of this series have been on a new track, so therefore new content. which I personally am really happy about, and I hope you guys are enjoying the new content too as I bring it to you. Now, back to the race. The length of this race, as we know, are 45 minutes, but with the fuel involved, I needed to gain some control. So I didn't know what 45 minutes was in laps, so I spent loads of time checking the fuel. It's putting me off the driving. So I was given a tip, thank you whoever it was, sorry I can't remember, to check how long the previous races were. Now, having a look at the standings, they were all 31 laps, so I can now fuel myself to cover 32 or 33 laps, and we won't have to worry about the fuel ever again. I can just concentrate on driving. I mentioned earlier how I was going to try to be careful not to be collected. Well, watch this.
Left side, clear left.
So the 22 car gets it all wrong into turn number 5. I did mention earlier that turn 5 was a widowmaker in practice, and I also mentioned that I was going to be extra careful not to be collected. But I find myself involved in a collision again. So I was up to 13th briefly, but I was then overtaken by the two cars that we're familiar with because we overtook them earlier on. Now, we have damage, as you can see, to the bonnet, but only time will tell exactly what the effect on that is. I also got 4 collision instant points, which isn't going to help my safety rating, but never mind. But the clue to how much damage we got will be on the delta, which is below the rear view there, that little red mark, which shows I've lost 5.95 seconds on this lap. But I'm going to have to get that out of my head here and try and make up some more positions again.
Come on, get your head back into it.
We're going to make up positions a lot earlier than we thought here. The Ferrari's going to make it very easy for us by going wide into turn number 1, just like he did earlier on in the race. So we're back up to 14th, which is where we were before we had that crash on the last lap. So nothing lost in terms of positions really. We have obviously picked up some damage, and my confidence is slightly wavered now. As you can see, I'm pushing quite hard here. I'm going to try and just settle down and try and get this thing safely into the pit stop window. Then I can take a breath, chill out, and then concentrate on the final stint, which will finish this race. So as we rejoin the action, I've managed to get it to lap 22 without any issue. I'm much calmer now, had a chance to chill out, and we've done quite well, I think, in terms of pace. So it's time to pit in now. As you can see, there's a big fuel level low staring at me. You can also hear I was slightly distracted there by the crew chief telling me I need to come in as well. So what I've done is I've worked out what 10 laps of fuel was in gallons. So I got myself to lap 22. I'm then going to put 10 laps worth of fuel in, which is going to give me 32 laps of fuel in total, plus about half a lap left or whatever is left as I come in. Now, because I checked earlier how long the races were, it was about 31 laps. I know now I'm going to have enough fuel to get to the end. The tyres also were all unticked at the start, so we're not going to be changing them or anything like that and wasting more time. I'm hoping as we come into turn number 10 here on our in lap that we finally have got the hang of the fueling and the tyres and can finally just get down to driving. As I came over the crest here, I had no idea where the pit entrance was. I haven't pitted before. Got to get that speed limiter on, which we've done, and then I've got to find my lollipop man. Amazingly, we've done a proper pit stop. Only 12.1 seconds rather than the 1 minute plus that we've been having previously. So we've just got to make sure we come out of the pit lane safely, ensuring we stay between the lines and we can get our head down for this final line-ish laps of the race and see if we can get the top 10 that that we are after. We're one lap ahead here on lap number 24, and I've got no idea how, but after everything has panned out, we are actually in 10th place. And also you can see that 8th and 9th are just up the road. Look, you can see them there. 11th we've got to be considerate of, as he's 4-ish seconds behind. Now, I said I wasn't going to push, and I'm really going to try not to push, but that carrot there of higher than 10th place is in front, so I'm going to try and push within my limits and see if we can get one, maybe two more places here. Another lap gone. We're on lap 26 now, and despite the damage, we're actually dropping the guy in 11th. You can see him falling away there. We're staying with 8th and 9th, which is encouraging. I'm hoping they continue to battle and bring us into play here to pick off at least one of them before the finish. But what is also critical, you can also see there was 2 cars up ahead, but there are now 3 in sight. 7th has had an issue somewhere, and if you look at the relative there on the right hand side, you can see that he's 4.7 seconds up the road now. So we've got 3 guys and a potential of 7th place here, as they're all within 4.5 seconds. Let's see if we can close them down. We're on lap number 28 now, and you can visually see the gap continues to close. I'm really eager there. You can see me getting on the power as early as I can with a boatload of opposite lock there, but keep your eyes on the 3 up ahead. Now, as we come into turn number 10, there's going to be an issue, and the 7 car is going to be round. As you can see here, round he goes, and we are now up to 9th place, and only 2 seconds, under 2 seconds away from 7th. Now, we're running out of time here, so really pushing. We've got probably a couple of laps left. They're going to know I'm right behind, well, certainly that white Ferrari is, so it's going to be interesting to see how he balances chasing the guy in front with making sure that I remain behind. We continue to close in. You can see it again visually, just getting closer and closer and closer. There's a back marker up in front as well, that red car, and I ride the curves, but that Ferrari is going to go off into the gravel. I rub the gravel slightly but get away with it, and he's going to go smartly defensive down into this corner here. So he's gone defensive there into turn number 6, therefore I can't do anything on him into turn number 7 either, so he may well have just saved himself there. The real winner in all this is the white Ferrari up ahead in 7th, who's managed to pull away slightly there. He's got about a 1.5 second gap on us now, as you can see in the relative, and we're just not, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to take a look, but we're just not in a position with probably the equipment or the settings that we have to be able to make a move into turn number 10. So the only time we're going to be able to make a move here is into turn number 1. So I'm going to pull out, but there's just not enough there. It would have been an absolute kamikaze move if I was to chuck it up the inside into turn number 1. The white flag's out, as you can see, so that would have been turn number 1 of the final lap. So as we circulate in 9th here, I'm going to get it a little bit wrong here. I'm going to hit that curve there coming into turn number 5, and I am going to end up in the gravel. Ugh, not good. Keep your eye on the rear view here though. I flick it over to the relative to see where the guy behind is, and thankfully we're going to have about a second's worth of buffer behind. We haven't got any more damage, which is really important, but a lesson learnt for me there. I've just got to take what I have been given. My eyes got a little bit big for my belly, but it didn't cost us in the long run, so we'll take that one as just a nice light learning point. The yellow flags are going to be out here. You can see a back marker has had enough. He's pulled over for some reason. He may have crashed, I'm not quite sure. But we're going to come into turn number 10 for the final time. And I am going to bring home a 9th place. I'm incredibly happy with that, considering I started in 22nd. And it's so nice to finally have the tyres and fuel bit sorted out and be confident enough to be looking forward and not looking back and actually competing. Here we are then, there's our iRacing, so a little bit inconsistent, but we'll get there. But for now guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.